There are many studies done to the effects of social media on the human population and on the individual in particular. Many of those studies suggest that too much social media activity can be bad for your mental health. Why? Because those studies are done primarily on worldly people tend to compare themselves with others. That is what worldly people do. Even though many of them claim they're not doing it, they are doing it. Because self-validation is based on seeking relief from others. So if others are not validating you, who are you? So, social media platforms are used by worldly people to be validated by others. That's why many are on social media. Some don't use social media because they get validation supply elsewhere, in a more direct manner. But to many of them, whether they are for social media or against social media, it's all about the validation. Many are against social media because they want to have more control on the social validation they're craving. And they realize that online, you don't have that much control as you think. It's all about controlling others, or the perception of controlling others. Now, a platform is just a platform. For example, YouTube is also a social media. And I'm using this platform to teach you. Now, there are others using this platform for propaganda, for other stuff. So a platform is a platform. Okay? But it's not about the platform. It's about the one using it and why they're using it. And some platforms are not good for some purposes. If you want to share a scientific article, you better not use Twitter because you can't write many text over there. If you want to give a deep analysis, then you can create a Facebook group to share things with folks, but maybe far better on a Google account. You get what I'm saying here? So even a platform is designed for a specific purpose. But in this video, I want to talk about a social media effect that many haven't touched on. It's an effect many just don't seem to grasp. I kind of already said it. It's the false security of control. Before social media existed, people joined cults. In a cult, everyone talks the same, wears the same, feels the same. So you have this illusion of control because everyone is doing the same thing. Then you know that control is impossible, but still, because you have the perception of control, you feel relieved. That's why cults are so popular. Social media has a similar effect. In this case, you're the one, quote unquote, running the show, because you have your friend list. You decide what you share, you decide what you post, you decide who sees your post, you decide who you can unfriend. So you have this perception of control that develops inside of you as a worldly individual, because someone is born again and renewed in their mind, they have unlearned control a long time ago. But for worldly people, social media tends to generate a sense of control in them, and this sense of control blinds them from seeing reality. Just because you unfriend someone on Facebook or you block someone doesn't mean that in real life you're done with that individual. You're not. Or just because you decide to only allow people you know, and by the way, worldly people, when they talk about knowing someone, it's about having a grip on someone. Just because you only allow people on your platform that you have a grip upon doesn't mean that you're not vulnerable towards them. You are. This false sense of security that social media provides people is what the pagan rulers of this world are using to keep the human population trapped. And the reason why this works so well is because worldly people in general are orientated around instant gratification. And on social media, you can transfer data instantly. Or if you're upset and you want to take out your rage on someone, you can just block someone without having to face real life consequences directly. Instant gratification. That is what drives many worldly people. And because social media tends to generate this false sense of security in worldly people, they become addicted to this false sense of security. It's not the social media itself they're addicted to. They're not. They're addicted to this false sense of security that they get from being active on social media. Whether or not social media was designed to generate this false sense of security doesn't matter. That is what's going on. And this false sense of security also gives them the idea that if they delete all social media, they are far better off. That they have evolved, that they have matured. Which is another hoax. Social media is just social media. It's just a platform, just a tool. How you relate to the tool is what matters. And many cannot relate well to this tool because they're focused on instant gratification and they don't look at the bigger picture. Isn't it weird that in a day and age when people can get information almost for free and instantly, many become more narrow-minded than ever? You would think that now that information, data, about all kinds of subjects are instantly available, that people would broaden themselves and leave behind toxic ways of thinking. But what happens now is that people are using instant information to solidify their unexamined expectations instead of challenging them. So, just like joining a cult, they become like a cult unto themselves. And this changes their psychology. This changes how they operate. Not change for the better though. Let me say it like this. If people are addicted to a drug, in the beginning they are in denial of it. They don't want to admit that they have become dependent on the euphoria of that substance that they get by taking the substance. But little by little, that substance begins to control everything they do. And eventually, they don't even want to see it anymore. So they either begin to blame others or begin to cheat on others. There isn't such thing as a social media addiction. There's only addiction to a sense of false security that people derive from social media. The reason I'm making this video is because you need to understand, even if social media would disappear from the earth tomorrow, which is not like that, but even if it would happen, this addiction to a false sense of security will still be there. Before social media, the pagan rulers used local cults to keep people trapped. Now, they can use social media to keep people trapped. But it doesn't mean that social media made people worse. Social media only accelerated what was already inside many people. And social media now brings to the light what was lurking inside people's minds. And now a lot of folks are frightened by this. Let me explain. In previous ages, when there was a lot of social unrest, after some incident happens, an escalation, people forget about it. And people would just, well, quote unquote, move on. Well, I already explained about worldly people moving on and what it really is. Watch other videos about it. However, today, due to instant communication and also due to the technology that you can save recordings, and because many can just record anything evidence of people's wickedness is saved. For example, in previous ages, if there was a pedophile ring going on, you could easily hide it. Once in a while, you would pick up someone as a scapegoat and charge them before the court of law, and people would be satisfied. But because today there's instant communication, people notice more things directly. And because people notice more things, they don't want to notice, for example, that society is in denial, they get more into denial. Or if you had racial profiling in previous ages, well, people knew what was going on, but okay, how are you going to prove it? Now that you have cameras and the racial profiling is going on, you have it on tape. So people can't force themselves to forget about it. So now they are forced to deal with it. And that is another effect of social media. People are forced to deal with things. And here's the thing, many don't want to deal with things. In previous ages, people could just dump their negative energy and then remain at ease. But though to social media today, they need to watch out where they dump their negative energy, because they may be recorded. And it can be used against them forever, as long as they're in their body. And because on social media, negative information is shared all the time, people cannot remain in denial anymore. At least not in a successful manner. On one hand, this is the positive thing, because now people are forced to face things. On the other hand, you'll always have people that don't want to face anything. And when the people that don't want to face anything are bombarded with evidence of the thing they want to avoid, sooner or later they'll explode. They'll get out of hand. And that is what's going on now. That's why many of those radical movements use social media, and they get a lot of adherents. Because worldly people are worldly people. They want relief. And social media does provide relief at one hand, but it frustrates at the other. Just like every drug, both relieves and frustrates. Now, this video is not a pro nor anti-social media video. I'm just pointing out to you that this false sense of security that people derive from social media is quite dangerous. Look, social media is a practical thing. Without it, I wouldn't be able to reach you guys. I'm on YouTube to reach you guys. That's why I have this social media platform on YouTube. Doesn't mean I agree with everything that the YouTube corporation is doing. No, but it's a useful platform. That's why I'm here. The same way, you must use every social media. Use it for practical purposes. Don't rely on it. Forget about artificial intelligence. Forget about the quote-unquote CIA. Forget about Mark Zuckerberg. Forget about quote-unquote privacy and all of that, because privacy doesn't even exist. It's a construction people made up to feel relieved. Because it's not the pagan rulers themselves that will make things hard on you directly. It's the common people that don't want to face things. They're the ones turning on you. So it can be that you're posting things on your profile, somewhere on Facebook or on, I don't know, LinkedIn or whatever. Maybe not LinkedIn, but okay, let's say you're posting stuff about social issues that are going on. You're doing the right thing by alerting people. But look at this, some people don't want to be alert because they don't want to be responsible. Once you are informed, you are responsible for the information you received and how you deal with it. So when you inform people about the reality of what's going on around them, in the beginning, they may say thank you, but eventually they realize that now they are responsible to act. And if they don't want to act, it's going to backfire on them mentally. So when they are frustrated like this, they are going to project that frustration onto you and pretend as if you forced things onto them, as if you're making life hard on them. And then, to feel relief, they'll turn on you and they'll stalk you, they'll attack you, and some will even come to kill you. So use social media in a practical manner. The relief seekers will seek relief. The wicked shall act wickedly. Agree with Christ and be at peace.